I did it.
Super that you took the time out of your day to come and join me. So just for everyone watching, this is another episode of Check-In. I'm Haley Parker, and today we're here with the head coach of women's hockey, Deb Elek. Did I say your last name right?
Yes, that is correct.
Just wanted to make sure. But yeah, super excited. I've never interviewed a coach for this show before, so excited to get like a different point. So jumping right into some questions. I know that this is the second year that women's has been a thing, but you guys have really made the initiative to keep the club going, trying to fit in games, especially as COVID kind of interrupted. But can you talk a little bit about the start of women's hockey and your role as a coach when it came to recruiting girls at NC State to come and play?
Well, actually, the recruiting was done for me, so it made it really easy. Emily Peterson, who's the captain, she kind of really, did the job in getting the current student athletes on board that comprised the team. I think some of them played a little bit last year. I believe the team only had 2 games last season, so it was a very abbreviated season. And of course, again, this season also abbreviated. And because of the COVID shutdown, like you couldn't do normal recruiting. So, she just new players from when she played with the Eagles locally in Raleigh. And that's how, most of the girls came to be playing on the team this season. So I've had to do virtually nothing in terms of recruiting. In fact, there's no recruiting budget. I actually asked about that because I have a lot of connections up in Massachusetts. That's where I came from, and I coached the Division III women's hockey team up there. So I did a lot of scouting and recruiting up there, and I was hoping to get up there, but everything has been shut down because of COVID. So, I mean, you really couldn't do a normal, recruiting season, so to speak.
Yeah, I know that. I think it was back in August on an episode of the Check-In. I remember her just talking about the process that she went through just to create the club because there's something that NC for. So that was really awesome to hear her perspective too.
Right. Yeah.
So the last game that you guys played was all the way back in 2020, February 12th. You guys played George Washington. Got to cover the game here at PackTV, and even though the game ended 5-3. What do you think the team learned from their first game in terms of that was kind of like their first time in a real game, being able to see the work that they put in, on the ice and practice and how it came alive, during a real game?
You mean for this season? Because we just played a game on Saturday.
Washington, it was last year.
Last year you're talking about? So I wasn't even with the team last season. Yeah. I just came on this season, and we played Saturday night. We had a game.
Right. So
yeah.
So the team did not have a coach last season.
They did have a coach last season, and she's the assistant this season. She actually lives 2.5 hours away, so she hasn't not been at many practices this season. It's kind of been, my thing this season. I think they learned a lot from last season in terms of where they needed to, go and how they needed to grow and the sort of the talent that they needed to bring onto the team and things like that. Again, like I said, they only played 2 games last season. I'm not even sure if the championship game that they played against GW was their second game or they played 2 games prior to that championship game. But I know from the men's commissioner, I heard great things about sort of the work ethic of the team in that championship game last year and how close it was and how it was really such a great game because it really came down, to the wire at the very end. I think they lost in the last couple minutes of the game. So
very competitive game, I remember.
Yeah.
So when did you come in to be the coach of women's hockey?
I came in at the start of this season, so in September.
Okay.
We started practicing, and that's when I became the coach. Yeah.
Okay, so my next question was going to be, because of COVID and the season being pushed spring and it not being in the fall like it normally would, what did you do as a coach to make sure that they got in as much work as they can? Because, like you said, I know that there was restrictions based on like what you could do. Like, I don't even know if everyone could practice at the same time, but what
Right.
during that time to make sure that they.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of just WebEx meetings and things like that. Met quite frequently with Emily just to kind of get a game plan of where we wanted to go to get together. Me as a head coach and her as the captain of the team. And then we actually did schedule ice time beginning in October. So we had practices throughout the month of October and partway through November. I think we had about 8 practices, so that was good. Of course, not everybody was, local. Some of the team members were up north, and so we had to just make do with what we had. But one of the things was, I remember after the first practice we had, the girls. I'm sure they were thinking, "Oh man, coach is crazy. Like she's really crazy." Because I got a lot of feedback after that first practice, being like, we haven't skated in a while. And so the next practice, I brought them together and I said, "Look, this is the way I coach. I'm going to push you. I have high expectations, and I'm going to skate you hard. Otherwise, we're not going to get where we want to as a team." And they really rose to the challenge, I have to say. The women have an incredible work ethic. They work hard. They haven't complained after that first practice. so that's good. And I think, it's paid a lot of dividends in terms of where we are right now.
Absolutely. Well, that leads perfectly into my next thing. Like you mentioned briefly, this past weekend they had a great game against Virginia Tech. I had the opportunity to call the game. I personally just enjoyed the whole experience. It was a great game, and it was to see like the work that they put into the off season, get demonstrated in an actual game. And there was a lot of goal scoring going on. Hannah Murphy.
Yes.
Or Fawcett had 2, and Robin Peterson had 1. So
right.
There was a lot of scoring, but it was impressive. So can you talk a little bit about the strength of your top line with and Murphy and how essential they were to that game specifically?
Yeah, well, I'd say we really have 2 top lines. They're pretty equal in terms of their talent level and experience. And again, I mean, they're experienced players. Several of them have played together with the Eagles, so they they know each other, which is really good. But everybody on the team has an incredible work ethic, whether they're experienced, inexperienced. They've all displayed an unbelievable desire to learn and get better. And I think that's what makes, for a good team. They have great team chemistry. And more than anything, what I've noticed with this team is that they are so unselfish. They really are. There's no one that looks like they want to be in the limelight the whole time, or be the, the puck hog, or, score all the goals. They're really good at passing the puck around. And I think that was demonstrated in the game that we had, against Virginia Tech this past Saturday.
Yeah, that was something that I definitely noticed. I mean, Hannah Murphy was on a roll, but Jonathan, who I was commentating with, we kept saying she's being so unselfish.
Right.
Player open, she could willingly pass the puck.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, she could definitely take the puck down, deke everybody out all the time.
Yeah.
Score but get a shot on net, score goals, but she's not like that at all. She, she's, like I said, very unselfish. And looks to, get a pass off to another player who might be in position. And yeah, it's great. And Robin, I actually told Robin, I'm like, Robin, you're going to score a goal tonight. I know you are. And she did. So that was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Because she was just in great position all night long. So
yeah, I kept thinking the same thing. I was like, come on, I could see it coming. But overall, very great game. That was really exciting for them to come away big league. So next, I wanted to ask what the upcoming schedule for the women's team looks like. Do they have what's?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, none of there's 6 teams in the league, but right now it looks like just NC State and Virginia Tech are going to be the only teams that are allowed to play. West Virginia they might be able to show up to the championship game, and we're being really liberal this season with allowing teams, if they haven't skated all season but they can make it to the championship in Winston-Salem, we're allowing that. Just because we want to make sure we give the women as much opportunity to play this season as possible. And if it's for them only showing up to the championship game in Winston-Salem that weekend, then we're allowing them to do that. But right now, as it stands, we had a meeting. I was on a call with the men's commissioner and all the men's teams a week ago. And it looks like really it's just going to be NC State and Virginia Tech for the women's side season.
Yeah, I know COVID was making everything really difficult because some can't get together, they can't play. So I was just about that. Lastly, I just wanted to the importance of in general at NC State, because it's the first women's hockey team. I know that a lot of schools have a women's hockey team. And it's just something that I think is really awesome. So what is important to you as a coach when it comes to opportunities for these girls at NC State to play hockey, especially because it's such a mixed sport, when people think of hockey in North Carolina. So what's it like being able to provide that opportunity?
I think that's a great opportunity. And honestly, when I first moved down from Massachusetts, I coached with the Junior Hurricanes for the first season I was down here. And I really, really missed coaching at the college level. And I said to myself, darn, why doesn't NC State or UNC Chapel Hill or one of these colleges get a women's team together? And then I was, just searching around on the internet and saw that NC State had started a team. So I called Emily and said, hey, I'm really looking to coach a college, women's collegiate hockey program again. And I came down from Massachusetts. Do you need a coach? And she said, oh my gosh, you would be a perfect fit. I interviewed with her and Veronica, the goalie. And they both, I said, you can take your time and, let me know in a couple weeks or whatever. And they're like, oh, no, we'll take you, But getting back to the point of having a program here, I think it is so critical. Any women's coach, women's hockey coach, wants to grow women's hockey, and there aren't enough Division I and Division III spots for every young lady who wants to continue to play hockey after, their U19 team. So I think this is great that we have something in the local area, and I could see some other teams potentially sprouting up in the area as well. But it gives those young ladies an opportunity who, number one, may not want to go away to college. They might want to stay close to home. And number two, they might not just be experienced enough to make a Division III hockey team. I mean, there's quite a jump from, and I'm not taking anything away from our girls, but there is a significant jump from the club hockey team at NC State and a Division III women's hockey team.
Right.
As much as there is a jump from a Division III, NCAA Division III to Division One. It's like, it's night and day. So, but this allows women to be able to continue in the sport that they love, and I know how important that is because I didn't pick up playing hockey until I was 42 or 3 years old. And I love the game. I love playing. I love coaching. So it's so important to me to be able to help grow the sport and have those opportunities available.
I love that. I was super excited for the fact that this club was created, and I think that seeing the success that our men's club hockey team has had, it makes it even more exciting that we have a female counterpart and just be just as successful and
Right.
Hockey can be played in North Carolina, even though it's like not North Carolina hockey, but yeah, I was very excited.
Yeah, and it'll get there. I'm convinced it's only going to grow some more. We already have interest from High Point University and Elon, and I don't see why. One of our players just got into ECU, and ECU has a men's program, and they have a rink in Greenville. So there's no. And actually, I work at ECU. But there's no reason I wouldn't go with ECU. I would stay with NC State. But there's no reason that ECU couldn't have a women's program, or UNC Chapel Hill, Wake Forest. I mean, those are huge schools, right? So, and there's rinks all over the place.
Hopefully that happens.
Yeah, be great.
Well, that is all the questions that I have today, but thank you so much for taking time and giving everyone a little on some women's hockey here at NC.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Of course. So we'll see you guys next time on another episode. Thank you guys for joining.
All righty. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.